can a church create a youth ministry that's vital and alive? What keeps youth coming back long after confirmation? Christ Episcopal Church in Winnetka is a model for creating a successful youth program. In less than 3 years, it went from 18 to 60 active participants. To find out how to emulate their success, let's welcome Laura Zung, a member of Christ Church and chair of the Youth Ministry Parent Committee. We also welcome Lucy Creasa, a junior at New Trier High School, and William Roberts, an 8th grader at Washburn Middle School. So Laura, can you tell us what was Christ Church youth ministry like in 2014 as compared to today?
In 2014, we had a very small program with very few kids, probably 10 or less. But we brought in a new rector who had a vision for something different, and he wanted to build a program that was supported by the parents and the rest of the adults in the church, so that every child would have a relationship with an adult who was not their parent, their teacher, or their coach, and so that all the adults in the church would grow to be youth ministers. And the program sort of took off, and now we have probably 60 regular participants and over 100 kids that have been involved from our church and from other churches in the area.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us what is the secret to growing your youth ministry?
Our secret was that we aren't dependent upon one person. Our goal is not to have a youth minister who is the Pied Piper and does everything for the church, but instead that the whole church supports the ministry program. So we have a youth minister, but we have probably 30 to 40 very active adults as well that are involved with the kids, driving them, taking them to activities, helping out at a Just Harvest or Inspiration Cafe, and working with the kids in lots of different, for fun too. We do go bowling and do other things that are just for fun, not just service projects or work projects. I think the other thing about the church that sets it apart is that we have a program, we have a three-legged stool that supports our church. Our church is a very active choir. There are over 100 participants in the choir. And then we also have a big rummage program that once a year in October, we have a huge rummage sale. It takes hundreds of hours of work and hundreds of volunteers from our church and others. We raise over $300,000 a year, which is completely given back to other charities. But the youth serve in that program as well as a lot of volunteers in the church. And then we have our youth ministry program. And so those three things really support the activities of the church.
Can you tell us about the book Sustainable Youth Ministry and the role it played in helping to shape this development?
When we were starting out, before we'd hired our first youth minister, the adults and our rector all read the book, Sustainable Youth Ministry. And the book goes into how a youth ministry program grows with parent support and how many parents need to be supported. It's not just about numbers in terms of how many kids participate, but in terms of how many adults participate, how much money you need to spend, and kind of the infrastructure that you need to build to support the program.
That sounds fantastic. So Lucy and William, what are you excited about as it relates to youth ministry?
Well, I'm an acolyte in my church, so every Sunday, well, most Sundays when I go to church, I serve on the altar, I carry candles or a cross, and occasionally I'm a verger, so I get to lead the service and help the priest organize it, so it makes the service a little more interesting for me. And I don't have to sit in the pews and be bored.
What about you?
Verging didn't used to be something that was meant for kids or for teens, and it was only adults. As far as I can remember, until 3 years ago maybe, it was only adults. And around 3 years ago, myself and another boy of the same age as me were asked to train to be vergers and then to end up leading the service at some point once we had had enough training. So for me, that was awesome because now I see people like William and like my brother training to be them, and that was because of that we were asked to do it. So a couple years ago, and also with that, I think that it's cool to be able to work with younger kids So William has a little sister. I have little brothers who will be acolytes and hopefully in the future vergers. And it makes it so that you're on the same level as them in some way, and that the age gap isn't a very big part of it being hard to connect with them.
Great. So it sounds like Christ Church is really emphasizing the youth being a part of its ministry. How does that make you feel?
It's great. It makes the services a lot more interesting for youth, and it's really important for the long-term health of the church, and gets us more involved in the service. And you can spend time with friends while doing it, and Christopher, and our rector, is a great person to spend time with too. He's fun.
So what can the youth expect when they come to Christ Church?
When you walk in the door, there are usually youth ushers every Sunday. So someone will be standing at the door to greet you and say hello and give you a program. Then you will see the youth in the service, leading the crucifer, and the two torchbearers, follow the verger in for the beginning of the service. You'll see 30 or 40 members of the choir or youth.
Wow.
You'll see kids sitting in the pews. There's Sunday school. There's Recognize, which is our program for middle schoolers and high schoolers. There's a human-sized foosball court out on our patio of our church. And then usually there are other activities that are going on every week and weekend, either serving in our community or just fun things for the kids to do.
That sounds really fun.
Foosball is fun.
Wow. So there are so many things happening and available to your youth at your church. Am I correct in saying that there's also an opportunity to do mission work?
Yes.
You mind talking about that?
So for the past 2 years, I've gone to South Dakota with 20 other youth and adults to just basically work on the reservation and help the people on the reservation, the Lakota tribe, with a summer camp that they run. So we do whatever they want us to. 2 years ago, we painted a mural. Last year, my small group was focused on building a screen-in porch for their sitting area outside, because most of what they do is outside. There's the kitchens inside, but that's pretty much it. They sleep in teepees when the kids come, and it's just really interesting to be able to immerse yourself in the culture of people who are so much different than you, but then because they're teenagers, are so similar to you, and like the same things as you, and are interested in sports, and are interested in social media, and it just makes you feel like, wow, obviously my life is so great here, but
An appreciation.
It's an appreciation, and it's important. I think it's a very important thing for people to see a different side of America, especially because it's in the same country as we live in, and it's not very far away. But yeah, I've gone on that for 2 years, and the church has done it for many years before that. But for the past 2 years, we've gone to the exact same place. So we've built relationships with the teens, and I've built relationships with the adults there, and yeah, it's just really special.
Lucy, you attend a very competitive school, right? A competitive high school.
Yes.
How does your faith affect that pressure to succeed?
I think that coming to church and being around people who really care about you and really care about your family takes the stress off of what you think is so important. And that because I'm a junior in high school, I'm thinking about the ACT and I'm thinking about getting into college. But going to church and hearing the sermon and being surrounded by all those people that really care about you just kind of helps take that stress off.
It sounds like Christ Church in Winnetka is doing an amazing job with youth ministry, and it's so exciting to discuss that. I'm LaShondra Stevens for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.